March 28, 2014 Brisbane, Australia. It was a rainy night at Kilpa Park along the Brisbane River. The city was quiet, the streets nearly empty. Under a riverside rotunda, a young woman was found unconscious on a bench, brutally beaten and left fighting for her life. Hours later, she would be identified as Sophie Collombet, a 21-year-old French exchange student who had come to Australia chasing her dreams. What happened that night would shock Brisbane and make international headlines. Stay with me as we uncover every disturbing detail of this heartbreaking case. Before we begin, please like this video, subscribe to Crime Shadows here, and share this story to help spread awareness. Comment below which country you're watching from. Your support truly helps keep these stories alive. Sophie Collombet was a 21-year-old student originally from France, full of ambition and determination. She arrived in Australia in February 2013 to study business at Griffith University, eager to gain international experience and expand her opportunities for the future. Studying abroad was not just an academic decision for Sophie, it was a personal challenge and an adventure she embraced wholeheartedly. Friends described her as kind, adventurous, and incredibly hardworking. She adapted quickly to life in Brisbane, building friendships and exploring the city whenever she could. To support herself, Sophie worked multiple jobs while balancing her studies, a reflection of her strong work ethic and independence. She was determined to make the most of every opportunity Australia offered. Despite enjoying her time abroad, Sophie planned to return to France in June 2014. That her exchange program was nearing its end, and she looked forward to reuniting with family and friends back home. On March 16, 2014, she sent what would become her final email to her mother. A simple, loving message that carried no sign of the tragedy to come. Her boyfriend, Boris, had recently returned to France, making the distance between them temporary but manageable. Sophie remained focused on finishing her semester strong before heading home. She had dreams of building an international career, combining her global education with her ambition and drive. Sophie's life was filled with promise, plans, and hope for the future. A future that was tragically stolen just weeks before she was meant to return home. On the evening of March 27, 2014, Sophie Collombet's routine seemed ordinary, yet it would become tragically unforgettable. 8:30 p.m. Sophie leaves her night class at Griffith University, politely declining a lift offered by a classmate. She boards a bus toward the Cultural Centre bus terminal, maintaining her independence as usual. Around 9 p.m. CCTV footage captures Sophie walking near the river bridge, heading toward her apartment. Shortly after, near the rotunda by the river, the attack occurs, ending her life in a shocking act of violence. The timeline illustrates how quickly an ordinary evening turned into a nightmare, marking the start of one of the most disturbing crimes in the city's recent history. In the early hours of March 28, 2014, Sophie Collombet's body was discovered under the rotunda between Go-Between Bridge and William Jolly Bridge. Initially, authorities mistook her for a homeless person due to her location and position. Her body was partially covered with newspapers and a jacket, but investigators quickly realized the truth. Sophie was found naked and severely injured, with forensic reports later confirming 128 external injuries. Despite surviving several hours after the attack, she ultimately succumbed to severe head trauma, which was determined as the cause of death. The brutality and sheer scale of her injuries indicated a violent and deliberate attack rather than an accident or random assault. Her death immediately prompted a murder investigation, mobilizing local police and forensic teams to piece together the timeline, gather evidence, and track down the person responsible for this shocking crime that shook both Australia and France. Following the shocking discovery of Sophie Collombet, the Brisbane police immediately began investigating her last known movements. Officers checked nearby locations, including the Oscar Homeless Hostel, a local shelter for the homeless, and discovered one resident was missing, Benjamin James Millward, a 25-year-old man. Investigators carefully reviewed CCTV footage from the area, which placed Millward near the location where Sophie was last seen. During searches, they recovered an umbrella in the Brisbane River, believed to belong to the attacker. Sophie's clothes, phone, and bag were missing, suggesting the assault was both opportunistic and violent. The evidence indicated a personal attack carried out in a short window of time, but the randomness of the location made identifying the suspect challenging initially. Millward's criminal history quickly raised alarm. Police discovered prior convictions for assault, burglary, and robbery, painting a picture of a repeat offender with violent tendencies. He was seen on CCTV in the same area around the time of Sophie's disappearance, strengthening the connection. Authorities issued a public appeal, warning the community not to approach him under any circumstances due to the danger he posed. Further surveillance, including train station footage, captured Millward leaving Brisbane shortly after the attack, triggering a nationwide manhunt. Police coordinated with other cities and law enforcement agencies to track his movements, turning the investigation into a high-priority case that gripped the nation and drew international attention from France, Sophie's home country. Less than 2 weeks after Sophie Collombet's murder, Benjamin James Millward was located in Coffs Harbour. Authorities moved quickly to apprehend him, ending the nationwide manhunt. During questioning, Millward admitted partial memory of the events, confessing to sexually assaulting Sophie. He claimed that heavy use of drugs and alcohol impaired his recollection, attempting to mitigate responsibility for the brutal attack. Forensic analysis provided critical proof of Millward's involvement. DNA matching Sophie's blood and tissue was found under her fingernails, confirming a violent struggle. Witnesses also reported seeing him under the influence of drugs earlier that day, supporting his own admission of substance abuse. Investigators found that all evidence, DNA, behavioral accounts, and the timeline aligned to confirm that Millward had carried out a planned and aggressive assault, leaving no doubt about his guilt. This combination of confession and strong forensic evidence ensured a solid case against Millward, paving the way for his prosecution and eventual sentencing. The murder of Sophie Collombet sent shockwaves throughout Brisbane and beyond. Residents were horrified that such a violent crime could occur in a seemingly safe neighborhood. In a powerful show of solidarity, more than 2,000 people attended a candlelight vigil to honor Sophie's life, remembering her as a kind, ambitious, and vibrant young woman. The tragedy also sparked the Safe Streets for Sophie movement, raising awareness about public safety, especially for students and young women traveling alone at night. A memorial was built in a local park near where Sophie had lived, providing a place for reflection and remembrance. The French embassy offered support to Sophie's family, highlighting the international impact of the case. Media outlets from around the world covered the story, ensuring that Sophie's death would not be forgotten and that her story could inspire change in community safety initiatives. Millward was formally charged with murder, rape, armed robbery, and deprivation of liberty. Before the trial began, he pleaded guilty, acknowledging his role in the horrific crime. Sophie's family traveled from France to attend the proceedings, participating in emotional victim impact statements that conveyed their grief and the profound loss they had suffered. The courtroom became a place of both sorrow and justice, as the evidence and plea made clear the deliberate and brutal nature of the attack. The proceedings highlighted the devastating effects of violent crime on families and communities while reinforcing the need for accountability and justice. Benjamin James Millward was sentenced to life imprisonment, with a minimum of 20 years before eligibility for parole. In addition, he received 15 years for the rape charge, to be served concurrently. The judge condemned his actions as brutal, deliberate, and inexcusable, emphasizing the profound impact on Sophie's family and the wider community. The sentence reflected both the severity of the crime and the need for justice to be served. Sophie's body was returned to France, where more than 1,200 people attended her funeral, paying tribute to her life and mourning the loss of a bright young woman taken too soon. A memorial was established featuring symbolic mountains and butterflies, honoring her spirit and love for life. Her case sparked international discussions on women's safety, particularly for students studying abroad or traveling alone. Community solidarity and advocacy initiatives, inspired by Sophie's story, continue to raise awareness about personal safety and crime prevention. Through memorials, scholarships, and safety campaigns, Sophie's life and legacy live on, reminding the world of the importance of vigilance, compassion, and justice. Sophie Collombet's story is a heartbreaking reminder of how senseless violence can take a bright life far too soon. Her courage, ambition, and spirit continue to inspire, even in the face of tragedy. Let her story serve as a warning. Stay vigilant, look out for yourself and others, and always prioritize safety. By remembering Sophie, we honor her life and ensure her legacy has meaning beyond this horrific crime. For more in-depth true crime stories and case breakdowns, subscribe to Crime Shadows here, like this video, and stay with me as we uncover more shocking cases from around the world.